Hey, collective, what is going on? I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to look at the weekly forecast for the up and coming week via the tarot, astrology, any channeled messages that come through, as well as some Ayurvedic lifestyle habits, wellness practices that we can really implement to help support and liven our optimal well being. So let's get into it. I hope that you're doing well. I'm not in my usual space this evening, hence why I'm running a little bit behind. Um, it's been a really busy time of year. Gemini season is always pretty intense. It definitely has its movement, energy, vitality that really just kind of imbibes into the environment. So I'm sure, as you can definitely feel as well, there's a lot going on, this change of pace, and we're just trying to all keep up with everything, right? So that's why, I really wanted to make sure, there's a lot going on, this change of Excuse me. I apologize. I just wanted to make sure that we had audio. So that's really why I wanted to go live tonight, even though it's not my typical environment. I still figured that we could look at the energy up and coming. We're starting this full moon or this week off with a new moon in Gemini, which it is a little bit tense. We'll get into the astrology behind it, but it definitely has some tension around it. It definitely has some things that are going to test and challenge us. And as I was preparing for this reading, I was hearing like staying on top of your game, right? It's just about keeping your ducks in a row and not letting certain disappointments get us down, throw you off track, detour you. Yes, if something is a closed door, obviously, like we don't want to force the issue per se, but at the same time, we also want to make sure that we are committing, right? That we're committing to things that make us happy and passionate about life, about the life we're living, etc. And there's definitely a lot of that going on in the collective as well. Even though Gemini is definitely a busier season than we get with Taurus, it also it helps us to really focus on the things that do bring us happiness and fulfillment and put energy and effort. It starts opening up doors, especially in places where there has been resistance. And even though things are opening, even though there are opportunities that are coming our way, we definitely have to make sure that we're still being patient in the process, really vetting what's coming towards us, weighing out whether it is exactly what we want, where we want to be, if it really is in alignment with who we are and how we're moving forward in life. And sometimes that can be hard, especially if it looks good on the surface. So, yes, my smudge is ready. I like to start off all my readings with an energy cleansing just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places that we might feel blocked or limited. You can also skip ahead if it's not your vibe, but you'll still receive the blessing always. It's also a really good time to set your own intention as well, especially if you come in with something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like spirit to deliver messages to around. Definitely give that over. Be open to receive. It really is a great way to personalize these collective readings. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you're interested in more of that realignment of self, your mind, body, soul. I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. When we are in alignment with self, that's really where we can tap into our happiness, our fulfillment, our abundance. You totally deserve that, and I would love to help support that in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so we may see and understand the messages clearly. Help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, and love. All right. I also have some Tulsi sage going on in the background. Tulsi is really good for our abundance. And it's interesting because I do feel like there is like some doors opening, during this Gemini season, like I was kind of highlighting earlier, especially in places where things have felt a little stuck or stagnant lately. Or I'm hearing like the end of the tunnel. You're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm just going to pull up my charts real quick. So excuse me. So we start off this week with a new moon in Gemini. And like I mentioned, unfortunately, there is some tension that is coming into play. And it's mainly around certain things that, okay, this guy's up. The gambler. Interesting. As the overarching energy, loss is what this symbolizes. So maybe not taking the right gamble on certain things is what I'm hearing. Like taking a gamble on something and maybe not having it work out in your favor. We'll dive a little bit deeper into this, but I think it's all about like, I don't know if this is going to sound annoying, but just like gambling in the right way. I don't know if that's a thing, but it has this energy around it of like, life is always a gamble, right? Like we make choices, we take risks. Sometimes, yes, it's easier to foreshadow what risks are going to pay off and which ones are not. But you could be dealing with something that you're trying to find a little bit more stability and balance in. The champion, achievement, downfall. So places that you have kind of seen both sides, where you've seen yourself achieve, grow, expand, like you've hit these high points in life, but then also the value of what a downfall looks like as well. It kind of reminds me of that. I'm hearing like what goes up must come down. And I'm not saying that that necessarily is happening this week, right? But I think anytime we are trying to level up, anytime we're trying to like be better versions of ourselves, go after certain goals, whatever that may look like, there are going to be good and bad that come with it. It's all a part of the hero's journey. That's been coming up a lot for me lately, that value of what it actually means. We're often so conditioned modern day to expect things instantaneously. We get a lot instantaneously. And so I feel like our brain is being rewired in that way. But when we do come into losses, it forces us to get creative, and that's where I really like this painter energy coming in for you midweek. So beginning of the week, it is about your achievements. And this makes a lot of sense with the new moon in Gemini, because basically the places that it's tensely aspected, I'm just going to pull up the actual chart. I don't have the right one in front of me. I apologize. We're also going to be ending this week, moving into Cancer season as well. So it's our last week of Gemini. It's what I like about Cancer season is it helps us align more with our heart, moving from that heart-centered space. In Ayurveda, the heart is the container of consciousness. And so when we are in alignment with our heart, then we are living out our purpose. And that's where I feel like some of the both benefits, the positive things that are happening this week, as well as the challenging things are playing. They're all feeding into it. They're all feeding into your success, into the advancements that you are making. And so even though this champion, like you might take a little hit in one way or another, it doesn't feel horrible, honestly, because even though there's some annoyances with the new moon, I'm looking at the chart right now. Jupiter is tensely aspected to Chiron. Venus is tensely aspected to Pluto, to Chiron as well. So Chiron's all about or Chiron. However, I like Chiron. That's how I pronounce it, just so you know. But it definitely, it's all about like our wound healing, essentially. It's the wound healer. It bridges the gap between the outer and the inner planets, our spiritual and our physical life. And so it's that value that life is about growth and evolution. And in order to do that, sometimes there are aches and pains that come with it. And that again taps back to this champion card, or places again that like you've put certain investment into. Maybe it's paying off, maybe it's not. I'm going to see how this fares a little bit more, because even if it's not, I don't think of it, I'm not hearing it as a bleak thing or a negative thing. The Pilgrim, I like this. So opportunities, because how I was hearing it, I will finish my prior statement because the Pilgrim fits into it, but I feel like even if certain things aren't working out how you're anticipating, how you're planning, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because there's other options, other opportunities that are better in alignment with you. And it might feel a little annoying because maybe you are kind of used to having things in check in a certain way, having things work out in your favor. It's not saying that it's not, but I'm hearing that there are some detours this week. And again, I think that this is very much directly connected to the new moon in Gemini. And all that's doing, new moons are all about setting new intention, new manifestation, or readjusting things we're trying to manifest that haven't worked in previous cycles. And so those adjustments that you're making, I think these in our Saturday reading, it came up as like blind spots. So it feels like there might just be some certain things that you missed, that you did the best that you could with the information that you were given, and it's not necessarily saying that you failed. I don't necessarily get that vibe, but at the same time it does look like there is a little bit of redirection happening. And sometimes that can be a little bit difficult, right? Sometimes it can be a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow, the puppeteer. Well, and this is like one of those energies that you can't escape. It's in the blocked energy for you right now. You might not be getting, okay, so interestingly, it says explanation and apologies. You might not be getting apologies from people. Maybe I'm hearing that these are apologies that are owed to you, and specifically from people who had a hand in how things were working out. People who like maybe had certain investments gone in a different direction, actually helped, actually supported you, it would have looked different. There might also be some things that are being revealed as well this week that I feel it's like your unveiling is what I'm hearing. Aspects of yourself that you're showing that I think are really highlighting who you are authentically, i.e., things that either was missed by this puppeteer, or just aspects of yourself that have been overlooked by other people, whether that is to help advance you, grow you, help you to become more successful. And this is where I'm seeing that tension pop up for the new moon, because it has this vibe of, well, Mercury is tensely aspected to Saturn, i.e., why people can't apologize or give explanations for why they did X, Y, and Z. This is stuff that hasn't helped you. It's actually stuff that's kind of made it a little bit more difficult. Like, I feel like this is stuff that's made, like, whether or not it was an intentional, I don't know. Everyone's situation is going to be a little bit different, but it definitely has this vibe of like, people getting in your way, whether intentional or not, to be determined, or you are going to know best for yourself and your situation. But it's also something that's made you a lot stronger. Unfortunately, we have these times in life where And especially I think when we go through a lot of loss or upheaval, or, things completely change out of left field and we weren't expecting, anticipating at all, it teaches us a lot. It teaches us a lot about who and what we are surrounded by, the way people operate, the way that they function, etc. And I feel like even if there are places where you have struggled, it also feels like you are empowering yourself again, or have been, or, again, this is part of what is being revealed to people about you this week. So it's not about getting too lost in the illusion. We do still have some illusionary components popping up. We've been talking about this a little bit, specifically with the sun and moon tensely aspected to Black Moon Lilith. People can put on a good front or seem a little bit better. Situations, dynamics can come across that way, or they're trying to sell themselves that way. Like I said, there is some tension with Venus, Pluto, Chiron, and the Midhaven. So we might like certain things, like outside surface appearance of people and situations. But when we start looking a little bit deeper, it's going to give us insight into what exactly it is. And I feel like this is more connected probably to like where those investments might not be working out in the way that you had thought or hoped. I love this though, because you're coming in as the Hierophant. And again, like that's what I was hearing in the very beginning. It's staying on top of your game, and like being on top of your investments specifically. And you're doing so in a way that does feel really strong and powerful this week. Again, you might not like everything that comes up, but there's enough knowledge in the environment to understand what things are. And then it's about adjusting, shifting expectations accordingly. I'm not saying that that's specifically easy. It's not necessarily an easy thing for any of us to do. But I feel like this goes back to committing to what makes you happy, what makes you fulfilled for the sake of commitment. And that's where the value is, not necessarily in the type of success that you're receiving right now. I feel like that's actually coming. If you're not already experiencing, like I'm hearing this is like pride in self, like you have success in yourself and your own achievements that are definitely showcasing. I think you can see them. I think other people can see them, even if they're not acknowledging them, right? Not your problem. At the same time, it's not about the reward quite yet. I think that there's still more to the story that's unfolding for you this week. And I feel like it's actually taking you in directions, like as the story's unfolding, it's bringing you new direction, new opportunities. And specifically, like I was talking about, as we're moving into Cancer season, they're going to be more heart honoring things, right? Things that actually do really resonate, vibe with you on a very authentic and soulful level. Cancer energy helps us feel supported, nurtured, loved. It's represents home, family, mama love. It's that kind of support. Even if those, it's the idea, it's the energy, it's the value of what those relationships are supposed to represent in our life, even if they don't represent, we have to be. I was just listening to one of my favorite psychologists the other day, and he was just talking about like we have to be a parent, we have to be a child, and we have to be a friend to ourselves, and we're constantly figuring out how we do that in our adult life, right? So when we don't have that support, and it looks like that's where things might feel a little bit like meh, like annoying and frustrating, or rubbing you the wrong way. Five of Pentacles is when we're feeling left out of the club, not involved in the party. It might not be a bad thing though. You know what I mean? It might not be a bad thing because it kind of looks like you have some other things going on, whether it's more important or not. I don't know. I think there's, like I said, like I keep saying, I think that there's a lot of value in this commitment that's happening for you. And I feel like some of this Five of Pentacles energy is so that you can spend time focusing on what you need to kind of strengthen and hone within self. Nice. Okay. So King of Wands energy. Again, he's the guy who stays on top of himself. And it feels like you're, yeah, like you're, okay. I'll clarify what this is. Okay. We have a lot of family energy. It looks like there's some good things that are changing. There's a little bit more stability and balance coming in. Specifically, if you are dealing with a King of Wands, fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, but it has the vibe of someone like changing their mind, changing their tune. They don't necessarily like, this is someone offering, it's a olive branch, it's a peace offering of some sort, definitely trying to keep things more stable. And this could just be after a time of a lot of difficulty, right? Like, but I think like the difficulty was not getting anyone anywhere, is what it's showing. And it actually has just like made things a lot more stressful. It looks like someone's finally understanding that. And it looks like beginning of the week, there's a little bit more rebalancing as well. But like I said, it's in the face of you being able to overcome some of the disappointments and not be too expectant of certain people that maybe you do kind of expect to have a certain maturity, attitude, disposition. I don't think you're necessarily getting it from this person. What you are getting, the peace offering, again, it's not necessarily from apologies or explanations. This is someone who's just like not addressing it and moving on, right? But maybe not being such an a-hole, or maybe not being so difficult, trying to kind of put a good foot forward type vibe. And it gives you a little bit more space. I like this. It helps open you up to more creativity, productivity. It's not such a dead weight, is how it's coming through. Things feel like a little bit more balanced. Maybe someone made a wrong gamble, a wrong investment. So put that light out, excuse me. All right, let's see how it moves midweek. We definitely get more support as we're moving towards Cancer. The tension lessens, excuse me. But Two of Wands pops out. The tension lessens. I'm not sure that someone likes that, however, because here's the thing. It looks like you're dealing with someone who's like letting go of the argument, of the fight, but then when there's no fight to be had, I feel like there's a little bit of idle hands, and they kind of want more attention. They want you to kind of there might even just be a lot of projection. Like, I almost feel like they can't let you do your own thing. Is kind of how it comes through. Because the tension starts to ease up midweek. Things look a little bit more hopeful. Knight of Pentacles. Things are moving slow, but you're doing things more by the book. Oh, gosh, dude. Five of Swords. I feel like there's a lot of readjustments. Happening, and you have to be really flexible this week. Because like I said, and this could just be a different situation, but it almost looks like as you are making these adjustments, as you are staying flexible, then you get some pushback. You get pushback in a way that feels unfair. Like, it's like someone doesn't like how you're doing something, and you're putting all your energy, all your hard work, all your effort into it. And then instead of like appreciating it, maybe even saying something or having an adult conversation, nothing gets said, nothing gets dealt with. And so you're like, okay, well, let me do it this way, and so then you do it their way. And even though there is more balance, Then all of a sudden, midweek, as you're kind of doing your own thing, someone's like, hey, well, what about me? Right? It feels like it's playing games just to play games. And again, this is where like things are, I don't know. I feel like you don't have a lot of control in this situation, i.e., why the puppeteer is coming up in your blocked energy. You're at someone or something else's disposal. And to me, it feels like all you can do is play the game, right? Like all you can do is, as annoying as maybe that sounds, I don't know. This is a very weird energy. It's very like back and forth. Um, but again, I feel like this is not, it's like, it's almost like it's not anything to do with you. You're actually showing up for what you should be doing. Should, but you're doing it. You're showing up. It looks good. You're taking your time. You're moving methodically. You're dotting your I's, crossing your T's. And then it's just, again, like, this isn't even about you. It's with this Four of Cups, Five of Swords. It's like someone who needs to prove a point. And this could just be someone who's like, well, you weren't supposed to be like that. I thought you were going to drop the ball, or I thought you were going to do it wrong, or now we're doing it this way. It has a very flippant, like there's no reason for the Four of Cups, Five of Swords, but someone's just doing it for the control purposes. And again, that might not be a bad thing, because then it gets followed by this Ace of Cups, which the Ace of Cups is so beautiful. New offers coming in, offers that are heartfelt. And this is exactly what segues us into the end of Gemini season, into Cancer season. I love this. And this is the spiritual card in this deck. It's kind of like that value of when we are really kind of tapping in, leveling up, tapping into our higher self, being able to connect with the surrender. I'm hearing like specifically the surrender component, like when we have to surrender our agenda, our control, because like I said, it looks like you're doing what you should be doing. And some things are going to work out in your favor and some things aren't, and it feels like you're getting more of like the bleak side of that this week. Again, not in a way that I think is, it's just disappointing first, right off the bat. But then as you kind of get comfortable with the information, with whatever's going on, you still keep pushing forward, right? It's not like you're letting these things put you down. It might slow you down a little bit. It might make you take different avenues, different approaches than what you were originally planning on, but you're also being open and flexible. You're being open and flexible, but you're also keeping to your commitments, which is really beautiful. And I think that is something to be said. And I think that that's also where this Ace of Cups Anant card comes into play. I'm going to pull two more to clarify that. Really like this energy. Our readings have been like good lately, like just the strength is there. The bala is what they call in Ayurveda. Our support, the way we support ourselves. Eight of Swords and the Empress. Okay. I like this because the people that are noticing, the people that because I think that like the right offers are coming in from the right people, right individuals. And it might not be noticed from the people dynamics that you want it to this week, but at the same time, other people are noticing it. Other people are noticing it, and it's actually pretty powerful. Like I feel like some full circle moments are happening for you at the mid end of the week as well, like as we're moving into Cancer season. There's these energies that like, I really love whatever you're doing, it's working. Whatever approach you're taking, whatever you're kind of switching up for yourself, it's really cultivating a lot of value, a lot of stability for yourself. It's putting you in a space that like is helping you ultimately. Whatever even if certain things aren't working out, it doesn't mean that door is closed. And that's what I was hearing. It's like we can't get too disappointed. We can't let our missed expectations get the best of us. Because again, I think I just mentioned this too. I was just talking about this with a friend. It's like it sucks when people are mean or do like nasty things or have judgments, criticisms, harshness, whatever those, just more those negative lower vibrations. It's really hard being in those interactions with people. But at the same time, all that is doing is signaling like that person, that situation is not for you. Do you really want to be in an environment with someone that like thinks you're a POS? No. That doesn't really get us anywhere, right? And so that's where there is this value of the right people are seeing what they need to see about you. You're coming up as this Empress energy. This Empress energy is changing perspectives, it's changing opinions, it's opening up different doors that I think were previously closed. And part of this is because of you staying open and flexible, right? You can't necessarily control whatever this puppeteer energy is for you. And I think this is pretty congruent with how the astrology is playing out anyway, where it's like we can't get too fixated on how our manifestations are coming in. Maybe that goes without saying, but it also has this vibe of like where we think it might be coming from might not in fact be true. And that's again kind of where some of that stuff might feel a little bit more raw or unfair or whatever, but you'll be able to tell. The Knight of Wands or the King of Wands is a very hard energy to miss, because this is definitely like someone who's like all about me first, etc. And I think that even if you are dealing with a stronger energy like that, you kind of give them what they want. You're like, okay, take it. Like, if you feel like you deserve all this praise, all this accolade, you got it. Like, I don't even feel like you're shying away from that. You might not be like puffing someone up that doesn't necessarily need it, but at the same time, you're participating. You're participating to some capacity, because it has this energy of you not really like wanting to close doors or being committed to like whatever lessons you're learning about how to refine, how to evolve. And again, new moons are all about new intentions. So this is a really good time to shift things, to make the changes that you're looking for, especially when it does come to our daily environment, the people, the situations that we interact with, how that's affecting us, how that's affecting our energy levels. Are we nurturing and supporting ourselves through those interactions, or are we depleting our energy? Because that's exactly what it looks like you're building. You're building strength, you're building fortitude for yourself. And there are certain people along the way, as we see, that might not be on board with that. And that's fine, right? They end up selling themselves out anyway. It's easy to, when someone's all about themselves, again, it's really easy to see through that. And that's part of what's in the blocked energy, even though perhaps this person's situation has had more, I don't know if it's power, but like maybe they've been able to pull the strings in the past. It looks like that's shifting. And it's just a matter from you being like pretty okay about whatever your path is. Like, I don't see you resisting. I don't see you like throwing a fit or whatever. You're kind of just compliant, not a doormat. It's not about being a doormat, but I do see you being compliant, and it's actually working in your benefit because it's opening up doors. And I feel like it's opening up doors that perhaps this puppeteer was hoping that you would have thought were closed for you. All right. 10 of Wands. Okay. Seven of Wands in the blocked energy. I feel like the doors that are opening up have taken a long time to come in. I feel like that's been part of the burden, part of the stress, or even just the amount of time it's taken you to get here. Maybe once upon a time you did resist, fight the energy more, and now you're being more open to the flow with that surrender component, but not losing sight of your plans at the same time. And it looks like it looks like as the week progresses, you have way more to work with. It's not going to feel like that in the beginning of the week. If anything, it's going to feel like, oh, shoot, these things that I was working on are not manifesting, or they're not playing out how I thought that they were going to. And there is a little bit of a re-regulation, but once you re-regulate, it feels like it feels good. It feels good. All right, I'm going to close this out. I'm not really sure how I'll be doing on uploads this week. I apologize. I do have my plate full, but I am going to attempt to go live, just as a heads up, on Thursday morning again. And then Saturday, I'll be back in my normal environment. So I'll be up and running again. Okay. Nice. I'm going on an adventure. I love this. I know that passion is ignited when I create experiences that excite me 100%. And I feel like this is directly in alignment with what this pilgrimage is. Maybe you do a little bit of traveling this week. Maybe you do kind of get out of your normal daily routine environment. It's really good to do that, especially if you are looking to open up certain options, certain opportunities for you. There is going to be growth that comes through. I am grateful. I know that my blessings come from being thankful for what I already have. This is so powerful, and we often forget it, right? Like, it's so easy to look at what we don't have or where the deficits are. But in reality, there's always abundance, right? There's always abundance. And I know, like, when I'm in a super lack mind, even just going back to the basics, I have food, I have shelter, I have clothes on my back, I can pay my bills, just the simple things that, like, we can definitely take for granted. And I think sometimes when we are in this upwards trajectory, which it does seem like you are, there's a lot of strength and empowerment coming from your energy this week. You're staying focused, diligent, determined on what you have going for you. It's easy to lose track or lose sight of the abundance that is in front of us. And that's really like one of the secrets to abundance, right? It's not about what we have or what we're going after, what we're trying to obtain. It's about being present in the moment and feeling the abundance in the moment. Because the more we do that, the more we're going to generate that, the more abundance we're going to attract to ourselves, etc. And therein lies the power. I mean, it's like way easier said than done. These are jumping all over. Okay. I am choosing joy. So true. I know that a simple shift in my perspective can change my reality 100%, just like what I was saying. And it's it really does just make everything better. It sounds so basic. It sounds so simplistic. It sounds so ridiculous sometimes, right? But it's, I think I've talked about this too. My son and I have started doing that. Like, if we get too down and out about a conversation, something negative that's happening, whatever, and we kind of talked it out, worked the way through, said all we needed to say, instead of sitting in it, because sometimes it's so easy to just like sit in the energy. Well, this person did this and they did that and they did that, and just kind of repeating the same thing over and over again. And all that does is drag the energy down, And we started like talking about shifting that perspective. Like, once we got it all out, then we started focusing on like how our life was going to look moving forward, and the positivity and the abundance. And literally, like, bad sour moods would change within a few minutes. It's simple, but it's so powerful, and I think it's needed in this world. This world can be very ugly, it can be very messy, it can be very painful, and so we need those places of joy, even as simplistic as it can be. And usually when it is simpler, it's actually a little bit more Well, it's easier to obtain, right? And it's just a little bit more heart honoring. I know that I have everything it takes to build the life of my dreams. I am capable. And I feel like that's definitely what we're receiving in this new moon, Gemini, is just knowing that we are capable. We do have the energy, we do have the strength, we do have the vitality. Yes, there are going to be risks involved. That's just the nature of life, of the beast. But the way that you're coming in this week, it feels strong, it feels prepared. And even though there might be some people, situations that might get in the way or whatever they're trying to do, let them, let them kind of just do what they're going to do. You look like you stay committed. You stay committed. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't look like you're a doormat. It doesn't look like you're bending over backwards for people, but you're trying to be accommodating. Excuse me. And that effort pays off. It pays off with something that I feel like is more your speed, that's more in alignment with you. It's opening up new doors. And it also looks like on the heels of you potentially putting yourself out there, taking a trip, getting involved with new people, new situations, etc., whatever that might look like for you. We can't always control the puppeteers in our life, right? But we can control how we show up, how we react, how we respond. It looks like you have a really good handle on that. I love this energy. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Sorry again for the change of space, but thank you so much for your time, energy always. I hope you enjoyed the messages. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I love to hear, just say hey, share, and a little love, a little TLC. I so appreciate all the love, all the support to the channel that you bring my way. Know that it blesses my heart, and I'm sending love and blessings back to you. Have a fabulous night. I'll be live Thursday morning, and we'll get back on track into the weekend. All right, have a good one. Talk soon.